Welcome to the MLS Net Boys show for episode 3, and we have just officially hit 1 week of the season. Almost done. What do you think, Chase? How's it going?
Doing well, man. Doing well. It was a really interesting almost first week. Couple games delayed, but super interesting results. My predictions did not go as well as I was hoping.
Same here. There was some classic just MLS mayhem, I think, last night, and hard to really get predictions right in this league, honestly, but we'll do better. Probably not.
Yeah, it was a good week I think for the underdog teams, at least in our predictions.
Yeah, those kind of DCs and those sort of teams like that, you don't really expect much from. Kind of St. Louis. We'll talk about that more, but why don't we just jump in with the first game and kind of talk about a bunch of things here. First game, Nashville versus NYCFC. Did you watch that one?
I did actually. It was a good game. I mean, we both predicted Nashville winning. You got the score right with a 2-0 win for Nashville. I predicted a 2-1 win for Nashville. I thought NYCFC would be able to pull a goal out somewhere, but I think they're still trying to reacclimate to this new team they have, not having their core from last year. But Nashville looked solid. They definitely looked a lot better with Hani Mukhtar on the field, though. They looked like a shadow of themselves until he came on and kind of changed the game up for them.
Yeah, he was such a vital piece, especially for that second goal. Schaffelberg got on the board. He was active early from when I was watching. Fafa Pico was active on the other side of that wing. And I don't know. I was impressed with Nashville. I wasn't impressed with NYCFC, especially after all the players. They gutted their team. But I don't know. I think Nashville, a lot of people are expecting like them to take that leap and maybe contend for a trophy. I think this is a good start for them.
Yeah, it was definitely a great start for Nashville. I think Walker Zimmerman really put a stamp on it and kind of proved that this is his team to lead this year, um, which is exactly what we predicted. So it's going to be great for them this season. But moving on to Atlanta versus San Jose, the game that broke my heart. I predicted this to be a 1-0 win for San Jose off a Jeremy Abovasi header, and it almost came true until World Cup winner Thiago Almada decided to do World Cup winner things.
Yeah, this is the game. This is the exact type of game. Whenever I go to a live sports game, whenever people just leave, if it's like a close game, just like 15, 20 minutes early, you see it a lot. And just to beat traffic or whatever, and then something like this happens. Two stoppage time goals. Both of them were great. Just they were just bangers. Free kick for the winner and then a shot from right outside the box. But yeah, I was pretty gutted for San Jose. I think they've got a lot of people rooting for them this year. They've been miserable for so long, and I think they're just ready for some success. But I think definitely like it showed you that they can compete, and like if they maybe just closing out games, I'm not sure, but I liked what I saw from San Jose.
They looked good. They definitely looked good. I really like the way this team plays. It's so like fast paced on their attack, and they just want to get the balls into the box. And it was really fun to watch. So I think it's on the up for San Jose. They're gonna have a better season than what this first week implies.
Reminds me of those 2013, 2014 Caleb Porter Timbers teams. Remember that Porter ball era?
The Porter, but that was the season that we topped the West, man.
That's right. There's some good Timbers lore for you guys. Moving on, Charlotte hosting New England Revolution, and the Revs getting a 1-0 win. Henry Kessler with an 89th minute goal, another late drama game. What do you think about this result?
What a crazy week for just late drama. Like there was so many games that ended with just these crazy last minute winners. Um, but no, a solid performance from New England to start out the season. I mean, I don't expect a ton from Charlotte, and I think New England. I think they started the season off the way they definitely wanted to.
Let's not forget a couple debuts in that game. One, Timbers legend Bill Tuiloma makes his long-awaited Charlotte debut, and let's not forget Bobby Wood debut for the New England Revolution, coming in as a substitute in the 64th minute. Bobby Wood going to revitalize his career?
No, Definitely not.
I remember there's this soccer store. You probably know what I'm talking about. I think it's called Back of the Net, the one in Portland by the Timber Stadium, or I don't know what it's called, but there's that like
Yeah.
soccer store right outside of the Timber Stadium because we're Portland fans and we live in Oregon, and they have all this soccer merch and it's super cool. Well, they had like a whole Nike advert on their wall, and like there was four just giant like cardboard cutout players like on the wall, like in this little turf section in the store, and it was Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, I think Robert Lewandowski, and then Bobby Wood. Just the four of them, the four best attacking players in the world. So
You know, that's exactly where Bobby Wood deserves to be. All right, put some respect on his name. He's on a decline. I don't think he's going to do anything for New England this year. But back then, that's where he deserved to be.
all right, sorry. Anytime a Bobby Wood type of name comes up, it's just gonna distract me a little bit. But moving on, we got Cincinnati beating Houston Dynamo 2-1.
Yeah, it's a solid start for Cincinnati. Maybe a little bit fortunate, kind of looking at the stats of the game. Houston definitely dominated possession. They looked clean, but Cincinnati just has that quality going forward. That front line, just they're so dangerous that your back line can't really let up at all. So that's what happens when you play against a team like Cincinnati with that quality. You give them some chances, and they're going to put them in the back of the net.
Yeah, I loved Houston's offseason, and I was really excited for them, and I was rooting for a Houston dub here. And how about Hector Herrera with the assist? Your favorite player?
You're not going to see very much of that this year.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see with Houston. I think going out, they were competitive in this game. They lost by 1 goal at Cincinnati. I think that's not a good result, obviously, if you're not picking up any points. But like hanging in there with a team like Cincinnati, I think that's a good start for them.
Definitely a good start for Houston. But moving on to a more interesting game, DC versus Toronto. So we both predicted Cincinnati beating Houston, which came true. This game we both predicted Toronto beating DC, which did not come true. That was a disappointing, kind of stab at my heart there, as I don't want to see DC doing much this year. But what a way to pull out, the win for them.
Yeah, just seeing the goals and the highlights and it's like a lot of it seemed like one of those games where just like DC just had the will to just score and just like put the ball in the net and just come out with a dub here because Mateusz Klitsch scored and then Bernadeschi and Mark Anthony Kay both scored to put Toronto up 2-1 and then DC two stoppage time goals. Another crazy game where there's two goals in stoppage time to bring them from 1 goal down to 3-2 up. Benteke got on the board and I don't know. I know Rooney's been having a lot of youth in his like game day squads too, so he's bringing the youth out. He got an exciting win over. We're not really sure what to read of Toronto yet, but I think that's a great start for DC.
Yeah, that is a huge win for DC, a very big morale booster for them moving on in the season. I didn't expect anything from them. I thought Toronto was going to just steamroll them, but DC definitely kind of came through, and I see them pushing on from here. I still don't see them making playoffs this year, but we'll see as the season goes on.
Yeah, there's always I feel like one team in the league that's like everybody thinks they're going to be garbage, but like they always do pretty good in the season. Maybe DC, the Benteke show.
If if Benteke puts on a show this year and just goes off and just bangs in a bunch of goals, do you think there's a chance he'll get a move back to Europe ever?
I can not to
Not
like a
not not to the Prem or anything, but like to a championship side.
I can definitely see the championship. I don't know. I can even see like one of those bottom feeder Premier League teams like a Leeds or like some like next year if Norwich gets promoted like and they're struggling in the relegation zone like they will be. I can see like a team like that just picking up some bottom tier team just picking up like Benteke used goods, maybe hoping he does something. But hey man, he's found his home. He's got the MLS All Star game in his home city this year. What could beat that?
You never know, man. He might just pop off and win the skills challenge and leave MLS back to Belgium and flying colors. You never know.
Would hate to see it. How about Inter Miami beating Club de Foot Montreal 2-0?
Solid performance from Miami to start the season. I mean, possession doesn't really show it being too much to really split these teams, but putting up 2 goals right before halftime and then putting up another one in the 76th minute. Solid performance from them. They outshot them, 18 shots, 7 on targets, just showing a willingness to attack and get shots on frame against a pretty weak Montreal team. Really making me rethink where I put them in the table.
Yeah, I they just Montreal just traded Kai Kamara as well, so it looks like he is leaving after all. Not convinced with their like Romel Kyoto was solid, but I don't know if he can be your best option up top. Josef Martinez made his debut for Miami. I'm gonna give it a go here. Kurtzatov, he's their new center back from
Sounds right.
Shakhtar Donetsk. He's a Ukrainian center back. Gets a goal on his debut. I don't know. I know. Just here's another random piece of knowledge. It looks like Kieran Gibbs is got his contract terminated mutually to join the club as a media role. So I don't know if he's going to be calling
Where
local.
did this news come from?
I saw it on like,
How is this not pinned as the number one post on MLS Instagram right now?
yeah, I don't know if he's just going to be calling games on like Miami like local radio, but like that guy was like a solid like Premier League left back for a long time. He was in the league for forever. Came to Miami, honestly, completely forgot about him. Like I don't even think he started. And
You know your career's done when DeAndre Edlin has a bigger name than you at the club.
dude, and then let's mention DeAndre Yedlin. Harry Neville, Gary Neville's son, replaced him as a right back in the game. This is the Neville movement. One Englishman out, one in.
Maybe a little bit of nepotism there, but I digress. Let's move on to the next game. Orlando City versus New York Red Bulls, ending with a 1-0 win for Orlando against New York with a Facundo Torres penalty in the 56th minute. Did you get a chance to catch much from this game?
I didn't. We both just got the Apple MLS Pass, and there were so many games on. I checked out the MLS 360, but when I was watching, this game wasn't really on, and I was just more intriguing matchups to me. I'm excited how both of these two teams do actually, but I didn't really catch it. Facundo Torres gets a goal for Orlando. I know a lot of people are really high on Orlando this year, so that's good for them. How about Dagger Dan coming in at the 78th minute? Dagger Dan Thorhallison, best name in MLS.
The signing of the summer purely for his name. Uh, yeah, I didn't like you said. I didn't get too much of a chance to watch this game. But just looking, kind of through the stats, it looks. I mean, Orlando had 1 shot on target, and that was their penalty goal. So, not a very good attacking outing from them. New York Red Bulls, on the other hand, 14 shots total, 4 on target. So they definitely looked like the stronger team when you look at it on paper. But Orlando, I mean, they got the dub, and that's what counts. And they're going to move on from that and build some momentum going forward.
I was gonna say for Orlando, maybe that's like the exact type of game like that helps them to build like a culture there because I feel like to be a truly great team, what matters is winning those games by 1-0, 2-1 that you're the worst team in, but you can just scrap away a victory. And
As a Timbers fan, I completely identify with that. I've seen so many of those at Providence Park.
that's the Timbers way, especially if it's any sort of knockout round tournament. Moving on though, this was a fun one. Philadelphia 4, Columbus Crew 1.
Off a Jacob Glesnes' own goal was Columbus's only goal they scored. So Philadelphia putting 5 in the back of the net across the course of the 90 minutes. Um, Columbus seems like it's some growing pains for them. Still adapting to the new coach. Not really quite ready to make that leap yet, but it looks promising. It looks promising. It looks like they're on their way. But having your first game against Philadelphia, it's never going to look good for any team. Philadelphia is just so strong, has so much depth. Nobody's going to look good up against them this year. Even if somebody squeaks out a win, they're not going to look like they're the better team.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Wilfred Nance's first game. This is a tough one for him, and I believe in our predictions for the season for the East. I kind of, I would think Columbus will be a playoff team, but I think it'll take a little bit for Wilfred Nancy's ideology to get through. Um, your boy Keegan Hughes, though, he wasn't there. He wasn't in the game.
It comes with time. All right, he's just getting into the thick of things. Wilfred Nance hasn't had a chance to sit down, have a good chat with the young lad. Just give it some time. Keegan Hughes coming through, big season for him. I'm calling it right now. Put a stamp on it.
We'll revisit that claim there, but I
Keegan
think
Hughes, come on the podcast, man.
maybe we might use all of our efforts here to get Keegan Hughes in the podcast. You guys in Belgium and Singapore, we appreciate your viewership. We've been looking at where our viewers are from. Comment on Keegan Hughes if you didn't know,
Go,
which you
go to
probably
Keegan Hughes Instagram and just start commenting MLS Net Boys show.
if you didn't know, which I definitely didn't, and I consider myself an MLS junkie who just knows obscure stats. Keegan Hughes is a center back for Columbus.
Yes. He,
Chase was very big on him for some reason. I
he
don't know.
was signed as a homegrown player this year from Crew 2. Crew 2 had an amazing year last year, winning the championship in MLS Next Pro, I believe, right? And Wilfred Nance is well renowned for his development of young players. Keegan Hughes on the up. I'm calling it right now.
I think that's about as much time as we can spend on
I
the
will continue to bring up Keegan Hughes
the Keegan
every
Hughes
week.
Columbus Crew. Yeah, good win for Philly. I think that's all that needs to be said. This was a this was a big upset. Austin losing 3-2 at home to St. Louis. St. Louis's first ever game. We were really disappointed with St. Louis's roster. I was expecting not much, but I mean, this is only one game. You can't read too much into it. Maybe Bradley Carnell, St. Louis's coach, had the boys fired up for their first ever game. How about this game, Chase?
It was impressive how St. Louis played. This was one of the games I did watch most of, and the way St. Louis kind of controlled their spacing throughout the pitch. Their lines were really tight. They didn't give up too much in passing lanes, and I mean it took a great effort from Driussi to be able to chip Roman Berkey to get their first goal, get off the mark. But let's talk about the goal. That goal. I think everybody who watched this game knows. Everybody who follows any MLS like meme page already knows. Let's break down that goal.
So, Jared Stroud, St. Louis SC player, formerly of Austin, is gifted a very generous back pass. I'm not sure who passed it to him.
It was the what's his name? He was this Kit Keller, substitute substitute for Julio Cascante, who went down injured in like the ninth or 10th minute, something like that.
Kip Keller sounds like a Star Wars like bounty hunter type of guy. But anyway, yeah,
Sounds like a like an NFL like assistant coach.
that's closer than mine, I think actually. But yeah, Jared Stroud, Kip Keller just passes him the ball, just completely open with space, through on goal to Austin. So Brad Stuver, Jared Stroud makes easy work of it, scores. But it seems like a pretty weird play, kind of accidental play. But it looks like some people were pointing out. I didn't really get a good replay, but like apparently Jared Stroud was like calling for the ball and like he had his hands out, like he was like asking for it. So a little bit of like dark art stuff there. He's kind of asking the other team for the ball that he used to play on just to confuse them. And it paid off. Look at that.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Kip Keller definitely just blocked Jared Stroud on Instagram after that match as soon as he got back to the locker room. But you love to see. I didn't have St. Louis winning this game, but I'm happy they did. They looked good. Like I said before, their whole squad, front to back, they looked solid throughout the game.
Yeah, I had a 5-0 loss for 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 St. Louis. I was going out there because of how lights out Austin has been in the final third, but one thing I hate about this though? Great game. Such a good game to watch. Just exciting, good goals. The only thing so many people are going to see is that Jared Stroud goal and it's going to get put on like 4-3-3 and like Bleacher BR Football, and every single comment under there is just people going to be trashing MLS.
It's gonna be a bunch of just Euro snob like Premier League fans who are like, this would never happen in the Prem.
Just the dudes who wake up at 7 a.m. like once every 6 months to watch Arsenal play against Burnley that they've never seen, have no connection to, and then they're gonna trash this goal. But hey, man, I watched some goals from that Liverpool Real Madrid game, and I saw some bad
All
stuff go
right,
down.
all right. Let's not talk about Liverpool. Let's
Chase is a Liverpool fan.
let's move on from Liverpool. Both of my Prem teams that I support have been horrible this year. Anyways, moving on to our next game, we
What
have
a matchup!
Dallas versus Minnesota. What was your thoughts on this game?
Honestly, I didn't watch this one.
Not an exciting game on paper at all.
Not really. And so I didn't watch it, so yeah, I can't really say too much. Honestly, I'm surprised Minnesota got a win, especially without Reynoso there. It's not a strong team. I think we've both agreed to that without Reynoso. He really brings the team together. But they won 1-0 away. Dallas, I think is disappointing. Dallas, I think, is looking to take that next leap to kind of compete for trophies. And this wasn't a good start for them, but good for Minnesota, honestly. I don't have anything else I really want to say about this.
I agree. Definitely surprising Minnesota got the win here, but it kind of, with my preseason predictions for FC Dallas, it goes kind of on par for what I expect from them. I think they'll be a solid playoff contention team, but they're not going to be pushing for the top. I think they're going to be very up and down this season. Jesus Ferreira was kind of absent this game. They only had one shot on target across the 90 minutes with 63% possession, so they were just lacking to create quality chances. I mean, they had 11 shots total, so they were firing off throughout the game. They just weren't getting quality chances. And I don't know. I think FC Dallas will be a solid team throughout the season, but I think this is a good indicator of how they're gonna kind of not be pushing for those top two, top three spots in the West.
I agree. Next up, the last game on Saturday night was Vancouver Whitecaps hosting RSL Real Salt Lake, and RSL coming away with a victory here, 2-1. Demir Krylock, Justin Glad both getting goals 3 minutes apart, turning the result around. What do you what do you think about this result?
I had no intention of watching this game, if I'm being completely honest. This, to me, on paper, looked like it was going to be the most boring game of the week by far. Um, but I love to see a Justin Glad goal. I'm a big Justin Glad guy. Demir Krylock showing that he's still quality and he's going to carry this team for RSL throughout the season. But I don't really have too much to say about it other than I got my prediction wrong.
Yeah, I think for me, it just screams, and we don't really know too much. This is the first game, but just basing off of RSL last year, they were eighth place in the or seventh place, sorry, in the West, and I'm not really expecting too much for them. But I'll say the same thing about Vancouver, and I think it just shows like that Vancouver has a lot to improve on. Maybe some new players. They got their new goalkeeper started for them from the Japanese league, but I don't know.
The Japanese Nick Ramondo,
That
as you said.
that's right. That's what I saw on Twitter at least. So yeah, nothing crazy exciting about that game. I don't think Zach McMath gets the victory there,
As he should. As he should.
and we would have had two more games to talk about.
Three more games, actually.
Three more games. Yeah, Seattle versus Colorado kicks off in about 15 minutes from when we're recording this. So can't really talk about that one yet. We'll mention it maybe next week briefly, as well as LA Galaxy, LAFC, El Trafico getting moved due to winter conditions in LA, and then Portland and SKC getting moved to Monday night, which is a game I'm a sucker. So of course, the first Timbers home game I've gotten tickets to in 2 years gets moved to a Monday night, and I have work the next day. I'm still going, but not very happy about that.
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate to see some games get postponed. Really silly to me that the LA teams postponed theirs all the way to July when Portland and Seattle just postponed it like a day with far worse weather. But we're just gonna not talk about those games and our predictions, but tallying up our points. As a quick reminder, we predicted the score for each game, the correct result. So if I like, for example, I predicted Nashville to beat NYCFC, I would get 1 point. If I predict the score line correct, I get 3 points. And tallying up the points after week one, Jacob is on 7 points. I am on 3 points. Jacob predicted Nashville versus NYCFC, predicted the scoreline correct, and then he ended up predicting four other results correct, while I only predicted three results, unfortunately.
Looks like I'm ahead, but yeah, I'm thinking because of that 5-0 Austin beating St. Louis City result. I think I should be docked a couple points because that was embarrassing looking back.
Well, I did say Austin would win 3-0 in that game as well, so it's not too much better. Anyways, moving on to today's main topic, most important topic we're most likely going to discuss all year long. Some of you may have seen it in the news recently. Really big news for the league. A lot of people are kind of up in arms about it, but
Did
all of the MLS kits have been released.
you said biggest news in the league? I thought you were going to mention Eric Miller signing as a free agent center back to Portland Timbers.
You know, that is some monumental news that I think a lot of people are up in arms about. But what I was going there for is we're gonna go ahead and break down some kits. We're gonna go into it. I think in all the years I've followed MLS, this has probably been the best year for kit releases.
I agree. They've definitely gotten the bad stereotype where it's just half of the jerseys are just a plain white jersey with like a stripe of blue like along like the waist or something, and they'll call it like the pride of the city kit, and they'll like show this cool video of like the city and like just people like playing futsal on like the street. They'll talk about how like that one line in the jersey means like some big historic thing, but it's just another white shirt you get from Walmart.
I agree. I like that this year when you're looking throughout the jerseys, a lot of them have their own really uniqueness to them and they have some movement in it and it's not just a plain color with the three stripes of Adidas on the shoulder. I like that everybody kind of it seems like they were finally given the freedom to really branch out and do something unique. And there's really only a handful that I would kind of put like at the bottom of our list, but we're
Yeah,
going to go ahead and go through. I have all 28 jerseys that have been posted by MLS pulled up here. We're going to go from top to bottom, from most recent to oldest, and we're going to go ahead and give them a grade A to F.
yeah, we're gonna grade them A to F, and then kind of we're gonna agree kind of on one overall grade for them, put them in a tier listing, and then we're each gonna give our top three along with our worst jersey. But yeah, I agree. Definitely, it seems like Adidas. You know, I at least like, and I think most people would agree, like at least if it's gonna be a bad jersey, let it be something like creative, like show that you tried and not just another plain jersey. And I think even the ones that I hate this year, at least they tried something.
I will say that for most of them. There's a couple there that I see that did not try very hard, in my opinion, but we will get to those. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in there right now. Each one, I'm going to read the MLS caption for when they posted this jersey. All right, so we're starting off with the New England Revolution, defiant for 2023. A new look for New England Revolution has arrived. What are your thoughts on this jersey, Jacob?
That's right. And we're gonna do our best to describe it here for those of you maybe who haven't seen.
I want some in-depth analysis
You
of this
know,
jersey right now.
this is a white kit. They've got like a red sash going along like diagonally across the body, and it kind of fades in and out. Honestly, I dig it. It's like it's not too much going on, but it's like it's simple, but it's a clean. It's like when people talk about clean looks, this is actually a clean look, not just some all bland kit. I'm a fan. I want to hear your thoughts, and we'll give it a grade.
I agree. I like that it's not just like the. It doesn't look too plain. Like the sash going across kind of has this faded, like lines going out from it. To me, it almost looks like it could have been a national team jersey when Bruce Arena was the coach, if it was like a little bit cleaner of a sash going across, which is very fitting. But I like it. I would put this up there, and like I'd say like a B or a B plus.
Yeah, I think a B is fair.
All right, we're putting them in at B. All right,
Bobby Wood winning the Golden Boot in that kit.
that will definitely not happen. All right, moving on. We have New York Red Bulls, which I've seen a lot of people talking about this kit, and they're saying a lot of positive things about it. To me, it looks very similar to another kit that we will get to later that has not had very much positive feedback. But MLS posted this jersey, Red Bulls New York. Can't wait to see this Red Bulls New York collab on the field in 2023. This is a collab with Daniel Patrick, who I have no clue who that is or what that is. Apparently, it's a clothing brand. Anyways, looking at this kit, kind of is like a weird yellow blue color, and it has like a smoke effect to it. Looks as if they just took a white Red Bulls kit and they did like a little acid wash on it, which I personally like a lot. I think it looks really cool. I think it has a really unique look to it. But I'm curious to hear what you think about that.
You know, I really like it actually. I really like when New York does like the Red Bulls do like their blue and their yellow, and they kind of do something other than just like white and red. Kind of reminds me of like the Thierry Henry days where they wore like a lot of blue and yellow. I feel like, but yeah, I feel like people have made comments about it looking like it got washed wrong or like it's like sweaty, like that's what the yellow looks like. It's not my favorite, but I'm a fan of it. Like it could have been executed a little better, I feel like, but they tried something, and I think it'll look good.
Where are you putting this at in the rankings?
I'm going B minus.
I would put it in the B range as well. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of teams ending up here this year because there isn't a ton of really bad kits. But moving on to a kit that I actually really do not like, New York City FC. MLS posted this that said, "Unite the Boroughs. NYCFC's Interborough kit is here for 2023." It kind of has this interesting, has like the New York, like NY through the center with these weird, like, almost looks like a tiles making it up as if it's like a subway tile thing.
I want to say, yeah, it was a subway tile thing they were going for.
I'm not a fan. And I don't like the look of this at all. I would much rather see them do something a little bit different. I understand they're kind of paying homage to their city. It's definitely a New York thing, but I'm just not a fan at all. What are your thoughts on this?
See, I'm gonna disagree here. I was same as you when I first saw it. I kind of hated it at first. It was a confusing look, but yeah, it's their standard like baby blue kit, and then they've got this weird pattern going on, and then they've got some orange trim. I like how they incorporate the orange more now, but I think for me, looking back at those first couple kits when they joined the league, and it was just like exactly like Man City, except for with an Adidas logo and the MLS strap. I don't know. It's really grown on me actually, and seeing it in action in their game, I'm a fan. I'm gonna. What do you say first?
I'm putting this one down in a D.
See, I was gonna say I'm gonna C minus. Can we agree on a C minus?
Let's put them in at C. Our first C of the episode. But yeah, that's not up there for me.
I'm still mad at them at the 2021 MLS Cup though.
Hate the club. Anyways, moving on. And I encourage anybody who's listening to this, pull up the MLS Instagram and follow along if you want to take a look at these. Even if you're driving, no excuses. I don't condone being on your phone while you're driving. That was a joke. But moving on, we have the Columbus Crew up next. I really like this kit, but first, MLS posted this and said, "For Columbus, meet Columbus Crew's all new look for 2023." I like that they kind of stripped it back. They went with a black kit with a kind of gray like stripes going through it. It's like this weird hexagonal striped pattern going through. I really like this one. I like that it's simple, but it also has a little bit of movement and some unique look to it. I'd put this one up there towards the top.
Yeah, it's classic Columbus. got their yellow kit now. They've got their black kit. I know they had a gray jersey for a bit previously, and then do you remember they had that really weird like pink and white and like light blue
Oh,
jersey?
that's right. Yeah.
It was like the worst jersey I think I've seen in this league. But I feel like they're finally going back to like their look, which is a good thing. But honestly, I don't know. I'm not a fan. It's a little too reminds me of like a weird like race car tire in the middle. It's like got these like hexagonal patterns on it. I don't think it's bad. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not super happy about it honestly.
Where are you putting this at?
You know, this one for me would be D plus.
D plus. I was gonna put him at like a B. So let's go ahead. You think we could agree on a C there?
I think a C is. I think I can see a C.
I think that's more than fair for Columbus. Definitely not the worst that was released, but definitely not the best. Moving on, we have Cincinnati FC MLS saying putting the drip in drip. FC Cincinnati's River Kit is here for 2023. I didn't take a look at this kit too much before this podcast. I do not like it.
I'm not a fan either. I they were apparently going for like this river look for one of the rivers in the city, but this for me is just like the exact opposite of like a good execution. Like I feel like with NYC, they tried to do their subway tile stadium. I know you didn't really care for that one, but at least I feel like they paid homage to their city the right way. Honestly, I find it kind of tacky sometimes when they just make like the whole identity some random landmark that most people probably don't care about. I feel like if they just make the jersey look good, that's a better move. But what do you think about that one? You want to describe that one?
Essentially, they went with like a classic FC Cincinnati kit, like a lighter blue torso with the dark blue shoulders and sleeves with the orange trim, and then they took this weird like water splash and made like a sash out of it from the from shoulder to kind of mid torso, but it looks like somebody made it in clip art. Like somebody took like a clip art like water splash and just like colored it blue and then threw it across this kit, and then everything else about it is completely plain. MLS tries to do like these smaller pictures where they highlight the details, and the details is like literally just a patch that says Cincinnati, which just to me
Good
looks
one.
silly. I would put this in like a D category.
I agree. It's not like the worst here, but it's definitely not good. I think this is definitely one of the worst. But you know, blue and orange, Cincinnati, they've got such a cool like I feel like color scheme you don't see just at all in football across the world. And man, I wish they used that orange more.
I wish too that it's like another team. It's like a New York City FC, that blue and orange, but I like the darker blue from Cincinnati better. I think it lends itself better, but they just haven't had a really nice kit yet. But anyways, moving on to a bigger MLS team in the Colorado Rapids. MLS posts this saying, bigger than the game. Colorado Rapids unveiled a new day kit with a focus on rising above the stigma behind mental health struggles. I didn't know about the mental health aspect behind this kit, and I already liked it beforehand. But this is definitely a really cool kit. It kind of gives off like an origami vibe to me. It's like this white with light blue and a little bit darker blue, kind of like geometrical like shapes across it, and it looks as if it's been like folded in different ways.
I don't say this much with Colorado Rapids anything, but this is like this is like a knock out of the park. Like it's got a mental health awareness. I think that's a good cause you don't really see much about. And yeah, it's got these like geometric shapes. It's like a light blue. It's got like an orange trim down like the sides and a little bit of red. I really like it. Colorado's got a good color scheme. I think in general they've got that like powder blue with like the burgundy. It's like Aston Villa esque kind of that color scheme you see over there a lot in like Europe. But they've got the look nailed down in MLS. I think their home kit is class now that they've got that baby blue and like burgundy. And this away kit, that's one of my favorite ones of the year. I really like it.
I really like it too. And one thing that I think is a small detail that's going overlooked by a lot of people is the fact that they changed the color of their crest actually to match the jersey. They made it that light blue, and then they have all these shapes kind of like coming out from the crest. I think it's just a really clean look. I put this at the top of the list so far in the A category.
I agree. I was thinking A as well, but that's a good detail because so many times I feel like you have a club who does a jersey where it's like a not normal color scheme for them, but then they just leave the badge the same and it just totally ruins the look. I know Portland's done that a bunch, I feel like. Where they'll have like before they were more gold, when they were more like that yellow and green, and they would have like this yellow and green badge just on like a
On a
kit that like
red kit or something.
like on like a dark green kit when they had third kits and small detail but really important.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Austin FC. MLS posts this kit saying many voices, one look to bring them together. Meet Austin FC's Las Voces kit for 2023. I hate this kit. It looked better in their game, but that's from a camera that's like 100 yards away. This looks terrible.
You know, I agree, and it's sad because I like their mint jersey they have. I like their jersey last year a lot. It reminded me of Atlanta. Just like green and black is a good color scheme. I've wanted the Timbers to do a black and green kit for so long, but there's just way too much going on. They've got the black and green stripes, but instead of just doing one pattern like a normal human being, they decided let's take on the Windows XP computer as many different just line patterns as we can. We'll go big on one sleeve. We'll go tiny lines on the other. It looks like static on a TV. It's just way too much going on.
It looks like they were trying to just do one striped kit and they had made up all these different like mocks of like different like sizes of stripes and then somebody just came in and cut up a bunch of different jerseys and like sewed together this like monstrosity. It looks terrible.
Reminds me of that. What you just said reminds me of that Man City kit from like 4 or 5 years ago. Remember that? It was literally what you just described. It was like a piece of like every one of like their away kits from like the
Oh,
last
that's
five
right.
years. It was like purple and like white and like
Yeah, it
yellow.
looked
It was
terrible.
disgusting. That's what this reminds me of. It's just shame on you, Austin.
I'm putting this in the D category.
Not F.
I would be persuaded to put it in F. Is that where you're dropping them?
You know what? Maybe D actually. It's hard to mess up green and black. If it was any other color, I feel like it would be an F. But
And I think the fact that when it's from a distance, you can't tell that it's a bunch of different lines. It just looks like a nice green and black jersey, and then once you get up close, it's like, oh my gosh, what happened to your jersey? But anyways, moving on, we have Atlanta United up next. MLS posts them saying, back where it began for Atlanta United, the five stripes are ready for 2023. A lot of people are really up on this. A lot of people really like the original Atlanta kit. I just find it like really boring. So many teams throughout history have done this same exact look. I know Atlanta won their first MLS Cup in it. It's been burned into my memory. But I just the gold trim is kind of the only thing that's keeping this from being like a bottom of the list here.
see, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think it's really boring. It's pretty much identical to their first kit. I think that's a good look, at least in the league. It's unique for us. I know the Metro Stars, Red Bulls, as of now, had a jersey that was kind of similar, but I think it's a good identity for the league. It's just it's just pretty much the same jersey. I think creativity points go down. At least I will say they had a couple of jersey cycles in between where it wasn't like the same thing. But I think if they can use that look but implement something fresh with it, I think that would be the best of both worlds.
You know, it'd be really cool is if they just did red and black and a bunch of different size stripe patches all over the jersey, just like Austin.
You know what would be really cool is if it came out that all the entire 2018 Atlanta United team was using steroids so we would get the trophy back in Portland.
Same thing with the 2021 NYCFC kit.
It could
I mean
still
team.
happen. Anyway,
Yeah, moving on.
we didn't rank that one, sir.
Oh gosh, that's right. Just I don't know, man.
Too boring.
It's too boring. It to me, it just looks like they're trying. I think they're gonna stick with this look with their home kit for a while, and I think they're gonna try and become like these, like European teams like Liverpool, like Man United. They have like their home kit, and it never really varies. It's just like the same thing, and I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna try and build a brand, build an image. But for me, it's just boring. I don't like it. I would put them at like a C or a D.
I'm thinking C because I think it's a good look, but you're right, it is boring. But I'm a fan personally about like a team having an identity with a jersey. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's makes them recognizable, especially going forward with where the league is growing. I think it's a good look for them overall. I'm just not a huge fan. But moving on to Philadelphia United, MLS posts this saying, "All love for Philly. Meet Philly Union's new look for 2023." And I love this kit. This like kind of light gold, tan, and blue camo they have going, and then to stray away from their badge and to just go with the snake where the badge should be, and then they go ahead and put the badge like really small on the back of the neck, I think is a really nice touch. They just go with the minimalist Adidas logo on the other side of the chest. I I love this jersey. I think all around it's a great jersey.
Yeah, normally I hate when clubs do like the minimalist and they just change the badge for no reason. There's a really bad example I feel like of this coming up. But you're right. They got that brown kind of tan look, and I really like that look for Philly. And it's got this camo pattern. They used to have brown kits. I want to say maybe around 2011. They had these tan brown kits, but I think what's key for me is they don't have that disgusting, ugly Bimbo logo. Right? I love Bimbo snacks, dude, but it was the worst jersey sponsor. They had that white and red Bimbo logo just right in the middle of their dark blue brown jersey. It was
That's where I
awful.
think that's a whole nother discussion for another day. But I feel like sponsorship should have their colors changed when they're put on a jersey. They should,
Definitely
similar to
agree.
what we were talking about with the Colorado crest being changed to match the jersey. I think it just makes the jersey look better. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not executive at Bimbo, so I can't speak to that. But I would put this Philadelphia jersey. I'd put them in at an A. I'd give them an A.
I was thinking A as well. Yeah, it's a solid kit. Honestly, I like it better than their lightning bolt yellow and blue kit from last year. I know that one was pretty popular too.
I agree. Yet again, Philadelphia is dominating the league in every aspect now.
Until Gareth Bale comes in at the last second and destroys this jersey.
All right, moving on. We have Houston Dynamo. MLS says El Sol. Red, Houston Dynamo ready to hold it down in this sun-inspired look. This I'm not a fan of this kit.
You know,
Also, the picture they posted of Hector Herrera looking at the camera. Dude, he looks so. What is wrong with this guy?
you know, man, when I see that kit, it's a shame because orange is so underused and it could be really exciting, but it's just I feel like Houston just it's the same thing every time. They need to do something different. Maybe some stripes, maybe a design, but it's honestly symbolic to me of Ben Olsen. They got the most bog standard guy who could lead their club, and then to to write off with that, they got the most bog standard orange kit. They've got a little bit of a design. It's orange, and they've got these like very light patterns going through it. But
It's like a bunch of little squares that kind of create this like gradient of color. Um, I don't know. It looks like if you had somebody play Minecraft and just put a bunch of like orange, different colored blocks on a jersey. I don't know. It looks. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm sure it probably looks better in person, but looking at this picture and then looking at Hector Herrera wearing it, not impressed. I put them at like a C or a D.
I'm thinking D. It's honestly it's not terrible. It's just we've seen it so many times with Houston. I feel like they've got to change something up a bit.
It'd be so much more interesting if they did like New England's jersey, but if they did it orange with like a black kind of like sash going across. I think that'd be way cooler for them. But anyways, moving on to the Portland Timbers. MLS posts this saying plaid in Portland, it just feels right. A new look for Timbers in 2023. I did not like this kit when it was first leaked. When I saw the concept art of it, I thought it looked silly. To me, it looked like one of the random like Dutch Bros like warm up kits that they have occasionally. But after seeing it on like a couple of the players, seeing the pictures of it, I think it looks a lot cleaner. I think what it was with the concept art is the plaid was too bright. It had this kind of weird contrast, but I like that it's very dark. It's almost pretty minimal except for the white lines going through. I like this kit a lot. Um, wouldn't put them up there in the A tier, but I think they're a good kit.
Yeah, we as Portland fans, I feel like we've been pretty lucky. We've had solid kits, and I feel like we've had not really a lot of boring kits. You can't say they didn't try with this one. I really like it, honestly. I have two critiques though. On the back, the pattern doesn't continue. It's just like a dark green kit, and I know they have to do it because of like the
The
league
numbering
and
on
the
the back.
numbering. Yeah, for referees or maybe for cameras to see it better. But man, it would look so much better to me if just they had a continuation of that pattern.
That's where it'd be better off as a warm up kit because you'd be able to continue that pattern all the way around. But
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. A lot of people might disagree, but I don't like the white and the gold. I kind of wish they just picked one of those colors. I kind of maybe wish the Alaska Airlines sponsor and the stripes were gold as well. But I think it's solid. I Were you thinking B?
I'd put them as a B. Before, when I just saw the concept art, I would have dropped them a lot lower. But now looking at it, I think I'd put them as a B.
I was thinking A, but I'll settle on B.
I think that's a fair assessment. Moving on to the worst team in the league, Seattle Sounders. Coming in with their post, MLS says, honoring a legend, Sounders FC Bruce Lee kit has arrived. And as much as I hate the Sounders, I actually really like this kit. It's a weird kind of, they stray away from their colors. They None of this is their core colors at all. I might be ignorant to it, but I don't know what connection this club has to Bruce Lee.
I know from what I saw, it seemed like he lived in Seattle for like not even a long time, maybe like 6 months. I may be wrong. I know it wasn't a crazy long time. He lived in Seattle, and I think he taught martial arts. A bit of a stretch. I think the Jimi Hendrix was more of a legit connection, but yeah, I hate to say it as a Portland fan, but I really like this one. Seems like Seattle has like a tradition now of like doing these kits that don't really have anything to do with their colors. I remember they did like a black and like a neon green, and then they did that black and pink one, and then they did the Jimi Hendrix kit. Honestly, I hated the Jimi Hendrix kit. I thought that one there was way too much going on, but this one, I think they hit it out of the park. I really like it.
I like this kid a lot, and I can't wait for when they play Portland in Seattle and we make the trek up there. They're gonna have some random like Bruce Lee night or something, and Timbers are just gonna stomp them like 3-0 that night.
Got the fish.
Anyways, moving on to Charlotte FC. Oh, we didn't give them a grade, did we? All right,
That's a classic Portland fan over here. Both
let's
of us.
let's go back to Seattle. Just get it over with. I think they're an A.
Think they're an A. I think they're B.
I'm
Like
more than happy to drop them to B. Let's put them at B.
I think they're good, but
If I were looking at this kit and it was just, Alaskan Airlines on it and it had a Timbers logo, I would buy it. I would love that kit. But it has a dirty little weird Space Needle badge on there. So let's move on. B for Seattle. We have Charlotte FC. MLS posts this saying, new jewel for the Queen City. Charlotte FC's latest look is here. And I know this jersey's been getting some hate. I actually really like it. I really like that they embraced the deep purple, and then they have just the crowns kind of just in this faint, like almost like a shiny crown kind of scattered around like on the jersey. I really like it a lot.
I agree that it's yeah, this purple and they got the light blue and then the pink. I really like this one. I think those crowns are just such a simple but like an important ad just to distinguish it from just kind of a plain jersey. I don't really remember seeing any type of soccer or football club anywhere having like this sort of color scheme on a jersey. I love it. It does remind me of the Frosted Wild Berry Pop Tarts. I know I've seen that on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about? And
That's such a good pull. I love that. But even with that being a Pop Tart inspired jersey, I give this an A. I like this jersey a lot.
I think it's an A for me. Up there with the best for sure.
All right. Moving on to Sporting Kansas City. MLS posts this saying the hoops aren't going anywhere. Sporting Kansas City fans. I hate this jersey. It looks so stupid. It's just the typical just I feel like they're just throwing it back to like what MLS jerseys looked like in 2013. It's just boring. It's kind of similar to some of the other jerseys we've talked about already. Nothing excites me about it. The color just it's just it's just a stupid jersey, man.
See, this is the one I feel like we'll disagree with most. And I wish they would do something a little different. I know a lot of SKC fans on Reddit and stuff and Twitter have been saying they want their more Argyle pattern, kind of like jerseys from, I want to say it was their third kits around like 2014 15. And it's a little boring, I will admit, but that light blue, dark blue color scheme with the stripes, I think it's like a sharp like look. I don't know. I'm a fan of it. It's not my favorite. I feel like they could have done a lot more, but I feel like they've got a strong, different kind of look with them.
I just think it's boring. I think it's just boring and when you look at the other jerseys that have been put out, it seems like they just didn't want to put too much effort into it.
Would it be different if Cristiano Ronaldo was modeling that kit right now? And
I feel like if they got Ronaldo, they probably would have had a better kit. They probably would have put a little bit more effort into it, not to damage his brand.
I'm
I'm,
gonna I'm gonna say a C here.
I was gonna say a D, but I'll give it a C just because I like SKC as a club. Moving on to a controversial one. LAFC MLS posts this kit saying new look for the reigning champs in 2023, and I love this kit. I love the it's like this kind of weird like faded gold color, and it has this smoke effect over it. And I've seen a lot of people out there talking about how this is just a terrible kit. They don't like the way it looks, but to me, it looks almost identical to the New York Red Bulls kit. When I kind of put them side by side, they look pretty similar, and a lot of people are hyping up the New York Red Bulls, and they're not hyping up this LAFC one. I like LAFC a lot more. I like the colors they have a bit more. I like the black accent. I like this kit a lot.
See, I guess here's another one we disagree on because if they did it with any other color, I feel like if they did like a more tan or like a brown to make it more look like a camo or like a Desert Storm type of vibe, I would dig it. Here's the other team I was talking about. They simplified their crest in the corner, but it's literally just the same thing, just minus like the shape around, like the little shield on the LAFC thing. And I feel like at that point, what's the point of simplifying it? It doesn't look bad, but like Phillies, they have a snake, and that's just it. But LAFC is just LA.
Yeah, I guess I disagree there too because I like that they didn't do the badge because if they were to do it, they'd have to have this big black kind of patch on on the chest, and with it being such like a simple kit with just the smoke over it, I think it would kind of draw away.
Do you remember those old Mucinex commercials when you're growing up as a kid, where that giant
Giant boogers
that
just
giant
down in somebody's like nose.
and he's like just living there and he's got like a bed set up and a dresser and he's got like a job and he's working on his computer. That cartoon character Booger Man is what this kit reminds me of. I'm not a fan. I don't know why they're doing a smoke smog kit in LA of all places.
let's let's redo the MLS caption. We're gonna say new look for the reigning champs in 2023, sponsored by Mucinex.
that green color just mixed with the pattern is just, I don't know.
Such a weird pull. I love Seattle's out here doing collabs with Bruce Lee. You got Nashville doing collabs with Johnny Cash, and then LAFC with their Mucinex kit out here trying to raise awareness for allergies.
Yeah, versus the mental health awareness of Colorado. Not a fan. Not a fan. The
All right.
champions could have had a better one for me.
I would put this as an A, but where are you going to drop this
I
at?
was gonna say F. It's
Let's meet in the middle. Can we just drop it at C and move on from there?
even that hurts me, but fine.
I'm a hard A for this one. I like this kid a lot. I would buy it.
It was my second least favorite.
Really. There's only I think a couple kits I like more than this one. Moving on to a really unique kit, we have Dallas, FC Dallas here. MLS post is saying, nod to the past with an eye on the future. Probably the most fire caption they've done. And they put a fire emoji. This is a really cool kit. I like what they did here. They do a plain, kind of simple white kit with black trim, a little bit of accents of red, and then they have these kind of cartoonish, like tan fire bolts that are going diagonally across the jersey. What do you think of that one?
Referencing the Dallas burn before the FC Dallas rebrand. That's why they've also another key detail. They've got this little fire breathing horse in the corner. I really like, especially since MLS doesn't have that much history, when a club does do something like this and they kind of remember their roots. And now that we're kind of almost 30 years old as a league, when a club does like an old MLS kit or an old like USL or NASL jersey, I really want to like it. I just don't care for the actual execution of it. It's not my favorite. I love everything about it.
I I like this kit a lot, and I just looked up the Dallas Burn 1996 roster. Can you name one player on this roster?
Jason Kreis.
Yes,
I
Jason Christ.
I remember seeing a lot of old Jason Kreis. I went to the National Soccer Hall of Fame in Dallas or in Frisco actually, at the FC Dallas Stadium, and a lot of love for Jason Kreis there.
Respect. I, anyways, going back to the kit, I really like this kit. I like that there's this trend this year where these teams are changing the color of their badge. They went with this kind of mute, like just white and black FC Dallas badge. I like this one a lot. What would you grade this one?
I'm thinking a D.
I was gonna put it at B. I think this is a solid kit. It's unique. It's different. I'd kind of put it on par with like how Charlotte is just this really unique kit, but I think we could probably settle and go with a C.
A lot of C's this year looking like for us.
A lot of average kits. Anyways, moving on to Chicago. MLS Post is saying for all Chicago, introducing Chicago Fire's 2023 kit. I do not like this kit at all. I think this is a really just silly looking kit.
That's interesting to me because we're actually disagreeing a lot more than I thought. I'm a fan. I really like their. They had a solid like look before the red with like that white like stripe in the middle, and I wish they had like some sort of just mainly red jersey. I don't know if this is their home or their secondary kit. The centered badge is interesting. I feel like it kind of works in this case, but yeah, they've got these arrows and they're half red, half or not arrows, but more like hexagonal shapes, and they're half red, half light
I
blue.
think they're called chevrons.
Chevrons. You're right, actually. If it had a jersey sponsor, it would be one of my favorite. I think that hurts.
I was gonna say that. It's just there's this big white open space in the middle of it that just looks really stupid.
Remember the good old days of Quaker Oats as their sponsor, right down in the middle? Mike McGee days.
Mike McGee. That's a deep pull. Respect for that deep pull. This kit though, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of the light blue. I think I would like it a little bit more if they did a dark blue with it, which I know isn't their badge colors, but I don't like centered badges on jerseys usually. Not a big fan of it. They do the Adidas logo right above. It just to me, I'm not a fan, and the no jersey sponsor through the center just makes it look even. It looks like a training kit. It looks silly to me.
I'm thinking B.
I would say D or an F.
Another C.
C it is for Chicago. All right, moving on to Real Salt Lake. MLS says buzzing about Real Salt Lake's new kit. This is another just nothing kit. I like the color of it, but this is just a nothing kit to me.
Really? So the buzzing pun is actually because I went to Utah to watch the Timbers play there last year and get destroyed. Utah is the beehive state apparently, so that's what this is referencing. And also,
Do people in Utah even know that?
I don't know. That was really confusing because yeah, I didn't know what the connection was because yeah, every sign there has like a beehive like on it, like for like cities and stuff. But they used to have like a yellow jersey. I don't know if you remember that one. It was like Kyle Beckerman days and Alvaro
Yeah,
Saborio and like
yeah.
those sorts of players. But I really like it. The gold in their logo, you don't really see a bunch, honestly, in their jerseys. And I think that gold with like that navy blue and like the dark red, I'm a big fan. I think it's simple, but since the colors are so vibrant, I think it works. I really like this one.
I'm not the biggest fan of how simple it is, but as I'm looking closer, I do like the color. And it's really hard to tell in this picture, but they actually have this diamond pattern going across where it's just like a different texture almost, even though it's all the same color. But I think what will make or break this kit, which I haven't seen yet, is what color shorts they wear with it. If they do like a blue short, like a navy blue short, I think it'd look really clean. If they did a red short, I think that'd be a really big statement. If they go with the gold shorts and make it an all gold kit, I would not like it. I think they need some sort of contrast, but I'd be willing to drop this a little bit higher than my initial statement.
I'm thinking B.
I'd put them at B.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like this gold kit, if they do blue shorts and then maybe gold socks, I think that would look really sharp.
All right, moving on to DC United. MLS posted saying full bloom. What a look for DC United. I love this kit. I think this is a really cool kit. I like that they're doing this cherry blossom effect that's kind of growing in from the right side of the jersey, kind of around the crest and everything. And then they muted the crest and made it just black and white. And then they do like a black and pink trim around it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I think it's really sharp, and this is like the exact type of thing people I feel like are asking for. If you're gonna make a white kit with a simple design, make it something that stands out a little bit. I'd like it. I just wish there was more pink, just a little bit more pink. Not like a whole lot, but like I feel like with a lot of the teams, like when they do a pink jersey, like Inter Miami for sure, and Portland, I feel like they do this really muted pink, and it's probably on purpose, but I want to see more pink.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the case of Portland and Miami, when they're just doing a full pink kit, I understand making it a little bit lighter so it's not so kind of harsh to look at. And especially too when you're selling jerseys, you kind of want fans to be able to buy it as something they can wear just out and about, not have it be a huge statement. But in the case of this DC one, where it's just cherry blossoms on like a tree branch, I would like to see like a little bit more of a vibrant color. Maybe kind of have it be light pink and bright pink on different branches. But I don't know. I would still give this kit an A.
Yeah, yeah, I can see an A. Okay.
I like how unique it is. I think it's a good look. All right, moving on. We have LA Galaxy. MLS says LA Galaxy newest kit has dropped with a green heart emoji, a yellow heart, and a red heart. I like this kit. It's kind of a weird color scheme for them, but from what I've heard, it's the color scheme of the LA city flag. So it makes sense when you look at it that way. I thought it was like some weird like Cameroon like homage kit or something like that. I don't know, but it looks cool. I like the just kind of deep green with just the pattern around the collar and the sleeves. What do you think of this one?
I want to like it so bad because it's been really popular, but yeah, they've got the dark green and the yellow, and then what really ruins it for me is the collar and like the sleeve like ends. I really wish they just made it yellow and just made it like that whole yellow and dark green because that was their colors in like the early 2000s when they had like Kobe Jones. I feel like it would have been a good throwback kit, but the red is a little too much for me. It reminds me like of like some weird different colored version of like a Bop It toy as a kid. I don't know why. It's like that 90s colors that don't really work for me.
I think it's supposed to be like a repeating pattern of their flag, of the city flag, because when you look down at the bottom right of the jersey, they have like a little patch of the city flag, and I think that's what it's supposed to be. Um, but kind of similar to the Utah like beehive thing. How many people really care about the LA city flag? I don't think really anybody does.
Yeah, it's not awful, but I feel like I don't know, yellow and red together. I feel like if it's not done right, can be kind of tricky. Man, I'm thinking like a D for this one.
I was gonna say like a C minus, so I'd be fine to drop him down to D. I like the main color of the jersey, but it's just not the best look.
And that being said, even like these sorts of D category jerseys. We've got Cincy, Austin, Houston, LA. Most years these kits would be like a lot higher compared to some of these other ones, I feel like.
That's true. These aren't necessarily really bad kits. These are definitely good kits. They just aren't the best from what we've seen this year. But moving on, we have St. Louis SC MLS posted saying all four city in all capitals. St. Louis SC is ready for 2023. And this is just a boring kit with a cat food sponsorship on the chest.
The sponsor kind of ruins it for me. There's like, because I've seen some small details that might make it okay, like the stripes. There's like really thin black stripes, but that one as well, because they have two kits since they're a new team. They've got that pink and kind of it's like that dark red or light red pink kind of color with the yellow. I feel like the yellow makes it a little too much, but yeah, I think the sponsor is the main thing. But since the Adidas kits kind of phase out every other year, so they'll keep the home kit for next season, but the next year they'll have a new away kit. So I think the thought process I heard was they don't want to go too all out on a jersey they're only going to have for one season, and then next year we'll get a real kind of more unique away kit, while they just kind of have a bland one for 1 year.
That's fair for now. One little detail I do like about this jersey is they I think they're the only one I've seen where they do the Adidas logo where it says Adidas below the stripes in all lowercase, which kind of is a cool little detail that helps them kind of stand out. Other than that, I wouldn't rate this kit higher than a D.
I'm thinking D as well. Yeah.
It's fair. It's not a very exciting kit overall. But moving on, we have Vancouver Whitecaps. MLS posts this saying, uniting fans from all corners of Vancouver. And this is just a classic Vancouver kit. I just with boring white kit with some pinstripes and then a really big, just dark blue stripe through the center with their sponsorship.
I'm really not a fan of this one. I really like Vancouver jerseys normally. I feel like the red blue stripe in the middle, I'm not a fan of. I don't like the red in this jersey.
Yeah, I don't know why they added red to their kit.
When Vancouver's like just the white and they've got those thin stripes, I don't hate it. And then they use that dark blue pretty well. I remember they've had some kits where there's like these little mountain designs and stuff like that. Usually I feel like they got a pretty strong identity, but this one is just. And then I don't like their new sponsor. They had Bell, I think, for like a long time, and that really like fit with them pretty good. And this new one just does not mesh for me.
That is kind of interesting how these some teams become synonymous with their sponsors, and then when you see a different sponsor comes in, it almost kills the look of a jersey. Like I can't imagine a Timbers jersey that doesn't say Alaska Airlines on it. I mean, imagine you have some random other sponsorship come in. I think it would just kind of kill the look of a Timbers jersey. So yeah, I agree. Definitely having a different sponsorship comes in kind of it's going to take a few years for people to get used to it and for that look to really come back. But what are you rating this one?
It's honestly not that bad, but just for the sake of this, I'm gonna put them in F. Like I wouldn't. This is probably so far the least likely one I would wear. Maybe St. Louis, but I'm gonna give them a little bit of a break. But Vancouver, it's just so boring. I expected a lot better.
I agree. Showing again why they're the least important team in the Cascadia rivalry. Um, Terrible kit, putting them in F. Next up, we have San Jose Earthquakes. MLS posts this saying the new San Jose Earthquakes kit has landed, and I really like this kit. I like this kind of cool. They have a really unique blue. It's like this bright, like I don't even want to say royal blue. I don't know what color you'd call that. It's like a bright blue, and they do this really cool, like kind of cascading black, fading out stripes across it with the black sleeves. I like this kit a lot. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Honestly, blue and like black just combo just really hits good. And yeah, those little mountain designs, I think they're really nice. I really like this jersey. I think it's solid for San Jose. Not one of the best ones, but like solid.
Yeah, I would put them at like a B or a C.
Yeah, I think a B would be
That's a fair rating for
biggest
those.
club in MLS.
I was about to say the smallest club in MLS. All right, moving on. We have Minnesota. MLS posts this thing shining bright this year. This is their Northern Lights kit, and to me, it just looks like when you have a piece of paper that gets stuck in the printer and you have to pull it out. It just looks like the smeared ink all over it. I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, I've never seen the Northern Lights. Apparently, hey, when you're in Minnesota, you can see the Northern Lights. I don't know.
We gotta ask our buddy Ben. He lives up there.
You
He's
know, Ben's never looked at the Northern Lights
outside of his
before.
window. Yeah,
The dude only steps outside at night when his DoorDash gets there. I'm sorry, Ben. Anyways, this Minnesota kit, I hate it. I think it looks stupid. They do the same thing as as Philly, doing the just the simple like the loon instead of the full instead of the full badge. Um, but yeah, I don't know. This is an easy D or F for me.
really. This is this is my favorite jersey out of any of them. I
Really,
really like this jersey. I would definitely buy this one. If I had to buy any of these jerseys
this looks
other
like
than
a
a
jersey
Timbers.
you'd find at like Ross Dress for less.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I don't. But the pink and like that weird like distorted pattern. I don't know. I really dig this one. It is pretty busy. Like I can see why people don't like it. Maybe like if the bottom was like a black or something, or maybe like someone like the contrast is kind of funky. But
I think if they did a black, or if they kept that pattern across the whole kit, like all the way up and down it, I think it would look better. Or if they wanted to do the Northern Lights, if they did a full black kit, like a night sky, and then did Northern Lights across it, I think that would look a lot better. But this just looks, like I said, like a piece of paper that got yanked out of a printer. I
disagree, man.
I'm putting this as an F.
I'm putting this one as an A. Guess it's a C.
What a what a kit, man! Dividing
It's got
us.
us talking at least.
This
Shout
is.
out to our friend Ben as well, the Minnesota boy.
I will not shout out Ben. Anyways, moving on. We have Toronto FC.
Worst skit.
MLS posted saying new look new look for Toronto FC in 2023. This is a stupid kit.
I don't know why. I don't know why a team that calls themselves the Reds and has a red stadium, they consider themselves the pride of Canada, after having a gray and white secondary jersey, decided for their primary kit to have a primarily gray jersey with red accents. It's stupid.
It
It's the
just
worst jersey by far. This is the only one that I think is truly, maybe Vancouver as well. This is the only one I think is truly a bad jersey.
this looks like a jersey that you're offered when you make a pro clubs team in FIFA. Like you get the basic just stripe template and you just pick your colors and it just pastes it in there. This is a stupid kit. Toronto, you should be ashamed. Easy F.
Easy F. That or like a Sunday League jersey that like you get from the local T-shirt company, and then it's sponsored by a dry cleaner in town. This is an awful jersey.
BMO, the dry cleaner of Toronto. Yeah, screw you, Toronto. Moving on, we have Miami FC. My MLS posted this saying Miami at night. Inter Miami City new kit has just dropped. Going from such a terrible kit in Toronto, I love this Miami kit. I really like a full black kit with an accent color, and I really like that they did full black, and then they have these kind of stripes of a black design across it as well. A nice like subtle little hint, and then the pink outlines on it are just a really nice look for me.
Yeah, it's solid to me. I don't know. Inter Miami, I feel like for all the buzz their brand gets, they've been relatively safe with all their jerseys. That one's all right. I really want to see them do something really ambitious though. Like it's a solid kit. Don't get me wrong. I don't have anything bad to say about it, but I'm really waiting for we have a crazy Miami kit to kind of match the city down there.
They're waiting for the Lionel Messi signing.
Who? You mean
Sorry, I
the
meant Aaron Long.
you mean the Argentinian Tim Weah?
Anyways, I'm giving this kit an A.
I think it's more like a B. Do you think it's quite up there with the best of the best?
I would put it in my top five, not my top three, but in my top five. I put it in that 4 or 5 spot. But I could be convinced to drop it down to a B. We'll put it at B. We'll put it at B. Moving on to one of my favorite kits is Nashville SC. MLS posted saying honoring a Music City icon at Johnny Cash. They did the full black kit, the black badge with just a kind of a gray secondary color. And I love Johnny Cash. I love the paying homage to him. I think this is a really nice, just clean kit. There isn't too much going on. I like that they do all black. The shorts are black. The socks are black. I think the whole kit for that jersey is really nice.
Yeah, and I think what makes it kind of pop out from just a plain black kid is like that silver, those silver accents with the black. It's really nice. Perfect for Johnny Cash, the man in black. This is a really nice kit. When we're seeing all these tribute kits, since we've got Bruce Lee, Jimi Hendrix in Seattle, now we've got Johnny Cash. What's our local Portland hero from Oregon?
Oh man, who would be the Portland tribute? I don't know. I guess it doesn't have to be Portland. It could just be an Oregon tribute. Who would you say would be a good Oregon tribute? I'm gonna
Um,
go ahead and say Lewis and Clark. The Lewis and Clark Oregon Trail kit would be a fire kit.
with the trail on the wagon.
Yeah, I think having the sash be like the Oregon Trail, but like the old Oregon Trail game, like the original, that would be pretty sick.
I would buy a kit like that.
You know what? Let's touch on this again. Let's have a future episode where we give our suggested best like person to pay homage to for each team and do a kit. You're gonna just bring up some random USL player from that city.
Dude, Matt Sheldon becoming a pro.
All right, moving on. I have no clue who that is. Moving on. Our last one that was posted by MLS, the very first post MLS did of the new kits, Orlando City. MLS posted saying a wall of support behind them. Orlando City SC's new look is here. Solid kit. It's just boring. Just a boring kit. Just typical. It's like I said like earlier. I think Charlotte did the purple kit much better than Orlando.
See, I disagree here. I think we're not wowed by it simply because we've seen purple in the league for a while, but purple and gold I think is really clean. They've got like a brick wall pattern just going through the front of the jersey. I think that purple and gold is really solid though. I don't have they done purple and gold before or has it just been purple and white?
I feel like they've done purple and gold before, but I don't know. All their kits look the same to me when you watch them on TV. It just looks the same.
I think it's solid. Honestly, this is probably my second favorite. I wish more teams utilize gold. Like kind of LAFC's done it pretty well. Portland's done it decent more recently. Orlando City now. I think a gold just kit really like looks sharp.
I agree. Um, this this one doesn't excite me. I put it at like a C.
See, I was thinking A. I think B is a fair place though. It's good, but it doesn't wow you.
All right, we'll drop it in B.
But I think we're missing one.
The most controversial kit that has ever been posted.
Somebody apparently didn't get their kit done in time.
We have Montreal with no MLS
I don't like their
caption.
rebrand. I think Montreal Impact was one of the strongest brands in the league identity wise. The logo was so nice. The jerseys were fire. They had those black and blue striped jerseys. Changed the badge to a snowflake. They renamed the club Club de Foot. I'm not a fan of what's going on over there, man.
I agree. Not a fan. From the leaked images I saw of the kit, it didn't look bad. It kind of looked like a knockoff San Jose, like what San Jose has this year. But I'm just not a huge fan of it. Not a fan of the rebrand. I didn't like it. I would put them at like a D or an F from what I saw.
I was thinking C, but I can see a D. I would love an away day there, though. That would be
That
awesome.
would be a fun trip. All right. So we have officially ranked every kit. And I say we should run through each, give our top three, and then what we think is the worst.
I'm gonna go. I'll go first. Top three. I think for me, Colorado.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go Portland in number two.
Okay.
Sorry, no. Minnesota at number 2. I forgot about that one. And then Portland number 3. Orlando City just outside.
That's fair. I'm going Nashville as my number one. I'm going LAFC as my number two, and then at number three, it's tough. I really want to go for Miami. I really like their black kit, but I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and settle with the Charlotte kit. I really like Charlotte's kit.
That's solid. How about worst jersey, Chase?
I really hate Minnesota, but it's easily got to be Toronto. Toronto's kit sucks.
I definitely agree with that. I think Toronto's the worst, but for the sake of doing something different, I think Vancouver left a lot to be desired for me.
That's a good. I think that's a solid ranking all around.
So now that we've done that kit review, let's look at kind of three key matchups for next week. And we're going to start to just focus on just a few games each week instead of previewing every team. And right now we've got three games on the helm. What do you got, Chase?
First game we're gonna go ahead and talk about. We have Atlanta versus Toronto. Atlanta coming off a pretty lackluster performance, except for Thiago Almada just popping off in extra time. And then you have Toronto on the other hand, which they looked like they had the win, and then same thing, lost to DC United in extra time. So two teams that were involved in similar situations, except on opposite ends of the results. I don't know. I think Thiago Almada is going to have to be huge for Atlanta again. He's going to have to continue to be huge for them throughout the season.
Yeah, a big test for kind of Matt Hedges, Sean Johnson, that new look kind of spine they've got there. This is going to be in Atlanta, packed house most likely. A lot of people are pretty high. I don't know. I've seen a mixed bag for Toronto. I know even on the MLS website, they had a crazy range with their experts of predictions. Some of them had them as high as I think third. Other people had them as like low as like 11. I can see them being a lot of places. I think a game like this is a perfect test because it's an intimidating place to play, but it's not a super strong Atlanta team in my opinion. And yeah, if it wasn't for Almada just pulling two crazy strikes out of the bag, they would have lost at home to San Jose. And credit to them for getting the 3 points. That proves what having a difference maker like Almada can do in your team. I don't know. It's an intriguing matchup for me for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not super impressed with Toronto's back line, and like I said before, Michael Bradley's just getting older in the midfield. I don't know. I think Toronto might win this game, but it's not going to be easy for them. I think it's going to be kind of a tight game. I could see it being like a 1-0 for Toronto, but I don't know. I think Thiago Almada is going to be a lot for Toronto to handle through the midfield. But I just don't see Atlanta being able to pull off two last minute winners again. And Toronto, I think after last week, they have something to prove. And I think they're gonna learn from what they saw in the Atlanta game in the first week that you can't shut off on this team. That they can pull something out of the bag, and they learned it with DC as well.
Another important note is Lorenzo Insigne last week, or yeah, for DC United against DC United came out injured, and will he be back? We're not really sure. It's kind of early on, so we don't know if this is a long term injury or if he'll be back this week. Either way, if he picked up a knock, is he going to be playing the same? I wouldn't imagine they play him, honestly, especially on the turf. That's another factor. I'm going to give this one, I think, Atlanta.
That's a big that's a big game for both teams early on in the season. So I could see it going both ways. Would you say? What would you say the scoreline for Atlanta?
I'd say like a 2-0 Atlanta victory I can see happening.
All right, 2-0. I said 1-0 for Toronto
Michael Bradley Olympico.
with the outside of the foot from the opposite corner.
Just like you try to do on our club's team all the time on FIFA.
Never works. Never works. All right, moving on to our next matchup. We have Orlando versus Cincinnati. Two teams that I think both of us and most people are pretty up on these teams. People are pretty excited about these teams this year.
This is a fun matchup for me. Not real huge star power from like outside of the league many people would recognize. But I think two really fun teams in the league. It's in Orlando. They've got a fun atmosphere down there. Two kind of somewhat newer teams, and you're right. I think people are high on Cincinnati, people are high on Orlando, and I think this will be a high scoring game most likely. A lot of firepower offensively. I'm excited to watch this one. I'll probably watch this one for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is definitely going to be a really good game. I think it'll be a Cincinnati win personally. I think Cincinnati's just has more firepower than Orlando, and I think their defensive, that back three, is pretty solid. I could see them definitely holding off Orlando, but not for the full game. I see this being 2-1 for Cincy.
I'm gonna say 3-2 Orlando City.
Wow.
Dagger Dan.
Dagger Dan coming in, signing of the summer, Dagger Dan.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I give Orlando the advantage because of the home field, and I don't know. Facundo Torres starting off with a goal. I know he had a good year last season. Arsenal is interested. Maybe he's pumping up some stats and pushing for a move to Europe.
Never know, man. Moving on, our last game, our last preview here, we have St. Louis versus Charlotte FC, the two new kids on the block.
I wasn't expecting anything of them at Austin, and they shocked everybody. This is their first game at their brand new stadium, hosting last year's new team. This seems like everything's pointing towards St. Louis for me. I'm not super impressed with Charlotte, but this seems like the classic game where MLS is going to MLS, and then St. Louis loses off of like a Billy Tuioloma tap in like the 80th minute.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a St. Louis win. Just from what I saw of this team in the first week, they look way more organized than I expected. Their lines look tight. They pass the ball pretty well. Tim Parker's looking like a revitalized player back there. And just from what I know about Charlotte, now that they have Bill Tuioma playing in that back line, from what I've seen of him when he played in Portland, he always seemed to struggle a bit more when he had like a big target forward playing with his back against him. And the striker for St. Louis, what is his name, Klaus de Mello or whatever his name is,
Yes, sir.
he is a big threat. That guy's a big guy. Watching him play, I didn't realize until I saw him play in this first week, but he's a big boy, and he knows how to use his body well, and he knows how to play with his strength. So I could see him causing some issues for Tulioma up there, and I think it being their home opener and the momentum they got from this first game, I could see them pulling out another win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1, 2-1 St. Louis.
2-1 St. Louis. I'm gonna go ahead and go. I think it's gonna be a 1-0 St. Louis. I don't think it's gonna be a super high scoring affair, but I think it's gonna be a solid game for them.
Who gets the goal for you, Chase?
The goal for St. Louis. I don't know, man. It's tough. I'm gonna. I really want to say Tim Parker because I just love seeing that guy get super hyped up. I'm gonna say Klaus de Mello, or however you say his name.
Klaus for the Golden Boot.
Hey, man, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Mike McGee has won an MVP in MLS. So, all right. So that's gonna be it for episode 3 of the MLS Net Boys show. Next week, hopefully, no games get canceled, so we can talk about every game that would have happened. How about next week, Chase? We do our picks for MVP, goalie of the year, defender of the year, most improved player.
I agree. I think going through those awards, the postseason awards, would be a good thing for us to kind of go through and make some predictions. Maybe along the way we discuss some of the postseason news that has come out recently with the new playoff format.
Yeah, so that way when we give our predictions, when Alvis Powell does a clean sweep on every award, we can trace it back here, and it won't be biased.
He's gonna forge his birth certificate to win Young Player of the Year.
Maybe not that one. All right, but that's gonna do it. This is Chase and Jacob from the MLS Net Boy Show. Thank you guys for listening. We've been keeping track. Shout out to the fans in Belgium, Singapore, and
Wichita,
in
Kansas.
Kansas. That was awesome, especially from a couple guys from Oregon. That's awesome to see, so we appreciate it. Thank you guys.